My middle school science teacher used to always say that it's better to play keep up than it is to play catch up. I believe this quote is going to affect Vine Park Brewing Company in the future. Vine Park Brewing Company is Minnesota's only brew-on-premise establishment and my current employer. Now, since 1995, when we first opened our doors, we've had great success in the community, and we've built up a very strong following. However, recent changes to legislation here in Minnesota and a boom in the craft beering industry have opened up a new avenue, and I think it's one we need to take. And that avenue is opening up a tap room for Vine Park Brewing Company. Today I'm going to tell you the 3 reasons why I think we need to do this. First of all is going to be the growing interest in craft beer across Minnesota as well as the nation. Also, I'm going to talk about changes in legislation that have made it easier for us to open a tap room. And finally, I'm going to give you some examples as to why I think a tap room is necessary at Vine Park Brewing Company. So first, let me talk to you about craft beer as an industry here in Minnesota as well as across the nation. Now, nationally, craft beer has grown every single year since the millennium. Now, some years it's been small. For instance, this last year, Forbes reported that it was 0.09% increase in sales, which may sound small, but it is still significant. However, before the recession, the reported sales of craft beer were as high as 11% nationally, which is a huge number. Now, locally here in Minnesota, we've seen a boom as well. In 2010, HeavyTable.com did an article about the growing industry of beer here in Minnesota, and they reported at the time 25 licensed breweries in Minnesota. Now, this year, in 2013, there are 53 licensed breweries here in Minnesota. So within 2.5 years, we've more than doubled our amount of breweries in Minnesota. Which brings me to my next point, why we've seen this large boom. And it's because of this new law passed in 2011 called the Surly Bill, or the Pint Law. Now, the Surly Bill changed the way breweries operate. Up until recently, breweries were not allowed to open a tap room and sell their own beer in their establishments. They had to sell their beer in growlers, or they had to sell to a distributor. However, the Surly Bill now allows breweries to open up tap rooms, obtain a tap room license from the city they operate, and then sell beer in pint glasses. Now, being able to pour a beer and sell it on your facility is a huge advantage for breweries, and it's a niche that's been needed in the market since Prohibition. Before Prohibition, this is how breweries operated. We've seen, because of the Surly Bill, breweries are either opening tap rooms or breweries are opening specifically as tap rooms. Fulton in Minneapolis is seen a great resurgence in the use of their tap room. Dangerous Man Brewing Company is a brewing company that just opened up this year as a tap room, and they can't currently keep supplies up to support their tap room. Now, third and finally, I'm going to talk to you about some of the instances, and I think where we're missing out by not having a tap room. First, let's do some math. A keg is 15.5 gallons of beer. Now, if you sell that keg to a distributor, or you get a distribution license and you sell that keg yourself, you're going to make probably about $100 to $150 off that keg of beer. However, if you put that beer into growlers, and so growlers, and a growler is a 64-ounce jug of beer, you're going to sell that jug for $13, and you're going to raise the value of that keg to $400. Now, that keg is now worth $400, but if you were to open a tap room and put that beer from that keg into a pint, you'd get 124 pints out of that keg, and you'd raise the value from $400 for growlers all the way up to $620 for pint glasses. Now, besides the added value of pouring it into a pint, here at Vine Park Brewing, we operate a little differently. Customers come in and brew, and during that brewing process, there's about a 45-minute wait while everything steeps and a wort is created. Now, during that 45 minutes, customers go over to Bennett's across the street, which is a bar, and drink beer. Mike Elias, who works for Vine Park Brewing Company for about 2 years now, and who has also worked for Flat Earth Brewing Company in the past, told me that 90% of his customers go to Bennett's across the street during brewing to have a beer. He also said they often meet there before and after for beers. Now, if we sold beers at Vine Park during the brewing process, we would make money off those customers who normally leave. Also, during the day, Mike has to turn customers away who want to ask for samples of beer. We're not allowed to do that. But if we had a taproom license, we could sell pints of beer to individuals and create new customer base. Today I've talked to you about the beer industry in Minnesota and nationally. I've also talked about recent changes to the beer industry here in Minnesota. And then finally I talked about why I think we need a taproom here at Vine Park Brewing Company. And like my math teacher or my science teacher in middle school used to say, to play keep up is easier than it is to play catch up. I think it's Vine Park plays keep up before we play catch up. Thank you.